long story short, still super bullish on PayPal. Got great expectations for them in 2025 and throughout 2026 as well. I'm not sure I'll be holding super long term on this one, as initially this was a return to the kind of median play on me. It got way too undervalued, but I'm very excited to see how the ads business rolls out on this one. You can check out my full thesis on my website, thecraftytrader.com. Other than that, in this video we'll talk about the daily and weekly price action. We look at that to figure out where to trim and where to add, basically within our risk tolerances. As well as that, we'll take a look at the open options interest. We'll see what the big boys are doing in the market makers. We'll take a look at some PayPal news, and my live portfolio is linked below in the link to eToro, and it's also on the screen there for you. Right. I know I've been away for a while, had a lot going on in the real world, but I'm trying to get back into filming a little bit more content again for you. I know we had a really nice bullish move in the broad markets yesterday. That's probably going to sell off a little bit, at least before the inflation data comes out. If inflation's good, then we might move higher again, but that's unknown. For the most part this morning, pre-market is selling off as expected. I mean, some of this stuff's up between 15 and 20%. You would expect to see some profit taken in those circumstances. But specifically, let's move and look at the PayPal chart. So I never in 1,000 years would have expected PayPal to crash all the way back down to 56 kind of levels. That to me is crazy. I expected a more sustained bounce at kind of $71. I added quite significantly there. That didn't hold. Obviously, a lot of the financials sold off with the broad market drop, which, I mean, a lot of these companies are fairly well insulated from tariff charges and whatnot. Obviously, there's some risk there of recession, but I don't believe that to be an issue. So, I mean, these prices to me are a bargain. So far in Robinhood as well, I've been able to get back into my Robinhood position, which I'm thrilled about. So initially, maybe I should have de-risked a little bit in PayPal, but it seemed not really worth it given my expected pullback range would have only been about 20% better off. It's been a fairly steady Eddie position, so to me, I just wanted to add a little bit more to it. So I did that at kind of $80, and then when we broke lower, I started adding more aggressively. I didn't add when we got down to the kind of $57 area, just purely because there were so many other bargains in the market. I deployed a lot of capital into other stuff, even the SPY and the NASDAQ, because prices were silly. RSI got really oversold on this one, like much of the stuff in the market. I haven't been posting too many charts on this drop because a lot of the time these levels are just blowing out. The macro always takes priority over technicals. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Anyone that only trades on technicals is more a day trader, and they run the risk of not having the big picture. For me, technical analysis is the last part of my investing. When the market's selling off this aggressively, I need to deploy capital strategically as the markets drop around key levels, but with the expectation that those key levels probably won't hold. If I'm doing any technical analysis in these crazy markets, it's probably based more on the broad market SPY and stuff like that. But, we've got a bottom catch signal here. That looks pretty good on the MACDX plus indicator. Banking flow had 4 gold bars. Now, that makes me super excited. Normally, when you get a lot of gold bars on this, you get a long driving push higher. We can see back here we had 3. It did fairly accurately confirm the bottom range there, the bottoming range, and we moved a lot higher. We also got bottom catch and oversold a few times within that price range, so that makes me super excited. So PayPal for the long term, this price, the market's just basically giving it nothing for all of its growth drivers. So it's basically you get all the growth prospects for free at today's price for PayPal, which is insane because there's so much good stuff coming. I'll talk about that in the news section as well. Let me just take a quick look at the weekly though. I've not looked at this one in a while, to be honest. So before I put on their big ass cup and handle, that would be really nice. Obviously, that's not kind of going to be valid now. I mean, you could probably still call this a cup and handle, but their handle is massive, and I probably wouldn't trade it as a tradable pattern. But those targets did align with my kind of fair value at $124, which was ideal. That's still the price that I'm assigning for fair value. Nothing's really changed since last earnings. Earnings season is coming up. when is it for this one? I think it was April, end of April. So we'll have a better indication, and we'll know more about what guidance they're going to offer. Earnings season now is going to be really interesting to see what companies are going to guide for, given the tariff drama and the delay on that. So this could be a very, very volatile earnings season as well. Moving on to the options market on this one, let's have a quick look. Support now sits at 55, so that's kind of max pain that the market makers are going to want to buy the stock above that level to keep pressure on, really. And resistance is at 72. Are we going to get to 72 in the next day? Probably not. So this is the strikes for this week. But obviously 65 here, there's a lot of volume there. I would expect price to kind of hesitate there. We're not quite there. We didn't quite hit it, but we are pulling back a little bit. Again, I said earlier, expect to see some profit taking today, especially in pre-market and all that stuff. This inflation data could move the market more aggressively in either direction, though. So still be cautious in this market. Structurally, the primary indexes are in a very precarious spot. I'll take a quick look at that after, though, just to show you. Let's put it out to, for some reason this screen's really dim. Let's go out till next week, see what the market's thinking. And a lot more people were expecting quite an aggressive bounce next week on this one, up to 75. That's really indicating some of the big boys in the market have got the expectation that we're going to see a lot of upside in that one. Again, resistance is under that, so market makers are going to want to keep it under $75. So good luck on that one in the short term. Out another week. A lot more range, a lot more indecision. So to me, a lot more chop coming. Let's push it out to January, shall we? 2026. If I can see it. Probably need to change the brightness on my screen because it's terrible. I can't see anything. Okay. So by year end, $100 is still the popular kind of area. That really hasn't changed in months. It's just kind of been stuck there. That's kind of where I visualize the stock being over that by year end. But again, the macro can massively change these predictions. A lot of the tariff worries, people have the fear about adjusting PE multiples and all that stuff, but it's hard to plan for that when you don't know the actual knock-on effects of these tariffs and what deals are going to be done. So you just kind of, but it doesn't make sense to panic until you've got the information. You might get stung, you might not, but yeah. Let's try 2027. Okay. Again, still really well. A lot of the big boys over a 2-year period are really quite bullish on this one. Same as me. Again, 130 as the primary strike there is well over the expected move for me, which is kind of $120, $124. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think PayPal is easy money at this point, and they just haven't proven themselves yet, or at least they're just not popular. Okay, so PayPal news. I mean, there's not a whole lot of news for PayPal, so I'm kind of clutching at straws for a lot of it. The main news really is that the price is ridiculous. So type F here, I think this is Amir on X. I think that's his name. Just showing that if they kept up this pace of buybacks, that they would buy back the entire company by 2032. I mean, that's probably not going to happen, but it's a good mental game for you to be aware of just how aggressive the pace of buybacks really is on this company. Other than that, Finfluential, I believe he actually just left his position or their position on PayPal through getting stopped out, but they want to get back in. I'm not sure if he says in that post there. But again, they're just referring to what I mentioned earlier, that they should be fairly well protected from tariff-related inflation. It's mainly the kind of recession fears, which I don't believe to be something we need to be too concerned about. But it's freaking people out on that one a little bit. Other than that, PayPal quietly snuck on some being able to pay with Bitcoin, and then they added Link and Solana, I believe. So that's pretty good as well. But mainly, PayPal really is just priced now. I mean, it's a discount now without any growth. So if you built out a model and you took off all of the growth prospects for PayPal, you're still getting it at 15, 16% discount, which is ridiculous. So you're getting a hell of a lot of growth potential for a discount, basically. So in that model, you would be taking out the ads business, taking out fast lane growth, taking out the personalization growth, the improving margins, the huge buybacks, the new partnerships and expanded partnerships in PayPal, Verifone, Amazon. Record levels of cash flow, vertically integrating their stack, so operations can be improved and made more efficient. The Venmo debit cards scaling up, the credit cards. Pretty sure there's more on my list. Improving margins. Did I mention that one? The PPCP global rollout. The stable coin that they've got, PYUSD. So you get in kind of all of that for free, basically, when you're buying it. There's just a lot happening. The multiple, the cash flow, and the balance sheet is just saying there's very little downside risk on this one. And I know we could have said that way up at $70-$90 because it was so cheap, but now it's just crazy. That's just the sentiment in the market just created some insane deals, and hopefully everyone's taking advantage of those deals and not selling into the fear. But yes, we might still make a new low. We're still not out of the danger zone, but I would still continue to buy through those dips because I don't expect these to be long-lasting issues in the market. So I did mention earlier we're going to take a quick look at the SPY. Obviously, I've got the VU chart up here because that's the one that's got all my markings on it, because that's the actual asset that I've been trading. So yeah, I don't think anyone could have anticipated the sheer speed of this drop or the recovery bounce yesterday. The volatility is just blowing my mind. I mean, if you're a trader and you can nail the tops and bottoms, it's been fantastic. But if you're a bit more cautious like me, you can still do really well in the index here. So I don't normally hold a long-term position in these kind of things, but it was just easy money. Opportunities like this are like shooting fish in a barrel and getting some good discounts in these assets. It's just a no-brainer. So initially I did add quite aggressively on here, thinking this is just going to be a little bit of a blip based on the recession fears and we're going to recover, because I thought they were not entirely accurate. It was based on egregiously bad data, but then it's continued. We've had the dead cat bounce, which it made sense. We got so oversold, so having a technical bounce there made a lot of sense. There wasn't really too much volume or anything driving it, just a technical bounce as people shimmied stuff around. And then we've faded again, which made sense given the sentiment. I mean, you only had to log on to X or look at the news and it was fear, 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 sell everything, I hate stocks, I'm never buying stocks again. So I continued to buy in all of that volatility. However, I did stop when we broke below this trend line, primarily because any drop below here, I was going to go into leverage trades, which I did. I started opening on UPRO and TQQQ, just because the drop was insane at this speed. Even if there was nothing particularly bullish coming out in macro, a technical bounce would have been likely to occur. So I was just playing the odds on that one. I'm still in those trades. I'm hopeful the inflation data comes in good today, and we'll continue this move upwards. And at least, I mean, we're not out the woods yet because we've only got a 90-day delay, but that gives a lot of time for the market to make new deals, and hopefully China will also make a deal. I think they probably will. That'll be the smart thing. I think they'll be a bit crazy. They've proved that they can be reckoned with now, and they've saved face. Now is the time to make a deal. But yeah, might not happen. It is led by a dictator, so it depends what mood he's in, but he's putting his people in quite a lot of pain now, so it can only go on so long. So that's where I'm at with the SPY, and I think I'll just bring up the NASDAQ as well. Similar here, we got the gap close. I'm actually primarily in the CNDX on that one, just because it was a little bit more beneficial to me being based in the UK, which is fairly similar chart. Just this one shows where I've been adding. Obviously, I added really aggressively here, thinking we'd get more of a bounce, and we didn't, but I continued to add on the way down, using a bit of leverage. And then I didn't put TQQ on there for some reason. I put it on the TQQ chart, so I timed the bottom really well on that one. Super glad. But again, I'm still in both those trades, still hopeful. The VIX did spike a little bit this morning. I had a really nice swing trade on the UVXY. Not going to lie, kind of hoping fear drives up again so I can redeploy more into the leverage trades. But again, that's going to depend on the inflation report today that comes out at 12 UK time. That's a wrap. If you like this content, give it a like, share with your mum, your nan, your dad, your gran, whoever, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.